everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my updated 2020 edition easy everyday makeup routine. This is something that when I would go to the office every day, I know right now we're in quarantine, so I'm not going to the office every day. So admittedly, I am doing less makeup every day, but I am still putting on a little bit of something. This is like a full face of makeup, but very simple eyes. It's kind of like my go-to everyday look when I want to feel confident. I have a lot of meetings facing a lot of people. I still like to do the whole 9 yards with foundation, concealer, powder, but I will make my eye makeup very minimal. And I will link last year's video down below. The techniques are mostly the same still, but I just wanted to give you my most current version because I know personally as a YouTube watcher, I like seeing these routines updated from my favorite YouTubers, just so I can see and compare how their techniques have evolved, what they're doing. It's always good to watch like updated content in my opinion. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. If you want to see how I get an easy everyday kind of makeup look, effortless, yet still full face and put together, don't forget to please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell so you know when I post, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get on into it. So the first thing I usually do this routine if like right after I wash my face in the morning, brush my teeth, I will sit down on my vanity and put my makeup on before I head out the door and go to work. So if you guys watched my lip balm video, I will link that down below. I talk about all of my favorite ways to prepare for a day or touch up your lips for the day if they are feeling chapped. So I recommend you watch that. Maybe as a precursor to this, but I'm just going to go ahead and go in with my Hemp's Minted Sugar and Spiced Nutmeg Herbal Lip Balm, just so that way my lips are prepped and hydrated while I go in with the rest of my face. So by the time I get to my lips, they'll be not as like sticky and tacky from the lip balm, but rather they'll just be nice and hydrated. So because this is a face focused routine, I am going to start on my face, obviously. I want to mention that I'm going to be using all different products from what I used in 2019 because I do alternate through my products quite often, and I figured why not just switch it up and show you some different products put to use for a full face natural look. And I'm going to try to use some newer products. So I am going to go in with the e.l.f. Matte Putty Primer right here. This is definitely newer to my collection. I'm just going to take this and just rub this all over my T-zone. I do have some moisturizer on, and I do want to say that you should always start with a moisturizer or a primer. I always wash my face and go in with a moisturizer, typically an SPF, before I go in with primer. If I don't want an all-over application twice, I will just concentrate my primer in my T-zone area. So for example, this matte primer I am just going to put in my T-zone here. For foundation, I did self-tan this morning, so I'm going to go in with the Smashbox Studio Skin Full Coverage Foundation. You do not need to go in with a full coverage foundation. I am just doing this because I just want to show you an option, and I'm going to use very little bit on this Hank & Henry sponge. I know it's dirty because I used it recently, but this is such a good sponge and it's so fat. It's kind of interesting, so I'm just going to put this literally directly on here. Just a little dab will do you, and I'm just going to kind of dot this all over my face and then just start blending it in. It's okay to use full coverage products for a natural look, so to speak, because number one, you can control how much you use so you don't go overboard. But number two, using a full coverage product just allows you to use less. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a win-win situation, and it can be cost effective if you go that route and just don't pack it on too much. So I'm just going to kind of bounce this and drag this all over my face. And you can see just that little bit covered my whole face pretty nicely. And I do like a thin layer of foundation, so I'll go in with, you know, 1 squeeze to 2 pumps of a foundation, and then I'll just spot conceal my areas because I have oily skin. I don't want product everywhere unless it has to be there, so I prefer that technique. Whatever foundation technique you like, absolutely go for that, but that's just what I do. And then I'm just going to take this and drag this down my neck. And I do like this foundation because it is very long wearing. So if you are going to the office, if you are going out and about, this does stay intact. And it does have kaolin clay, I believe. And if you're oily, it does help control your oils. So it's also a plus, especially since the warmer weather is pretty much here. All right, so that's one layer of foundation on my face, and as you can see, I don't look super flat. I just look a little bit more evened out, which is obviously the goal, and I went in with very little. So let's go ahead and move on to concealer. So for concealer, I am going to highlight with the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 concealer in the shade Light Beige. This is very loved, and I actually am running out, as you can tell. So I like to highlight my face. This one obviously is matching my skin tone quite nice. It's still bright, but it's not super duper bright. But the formula is very nice. I'm just going to highlight down here. And then to spot conceal, I am going to take my Morphe concealer in the shade C3.15. This is a great spot concealer. It matches my tone nicely. If you don't have acne scarring, hyperpigmentation areas on your face that you want to cover up, obviously you don't need to go in with another concealer. You can just highlight and be good to go. But I personally, my skin type is very prone to blemishes and especially scarring and hyperpigmentation. So I do like to go in with both. And I'm actually just going to take this brush. This is the Ulta Beauty Precision Foundation brush. I forgot I was using this, but it's okay. And I am just going to buff that all in. This is kind of like my standard foundation routine. Obviously, for an everyday look, I don't go in with a whole lot of coverage, at least applying like volume-wise. But I do have oily skin, so I do like a matte to natural kind of look. I did do a routine / tutorial on how to get like dewy radiant skin if you are someone with oily skin, but you want a little bit more glow. I will link that below if you want to check that out. Two places that I always make sure that I try to blend in is right here, but like above my nostrils, because there's obviously like a little dent / crevice, so sometimes it can be patchy, so I always like to make sure that I address that. And right outside of my lip line, when you're blending foundation, when you're trying not to get it on your lips, you tend to kind of avoid that area as a whole, at least I do. So I'll always have some kind of like discrepancy between like right here and my lip, and you can see like my natural skin. So I really like to just go make sure that I'm blending all of that in thoroughly. On an everyday basis, I do not cream contour. This is all the cream product I do, just 2 concealers and foundation. And then we can go ahead and move on to the face. I'm trying to use different products for this video, but the one product that I absolutely use in every single video I do, which I say pretty much every time now, is the Essence Brighten Up Banana Powder. This is in the shade 10 Bababanana, and I use this to set my under eyes, and it's kind of like a 2-in-1 because it sets your under eyes and it's also going to bring them forward and brighten them. Now, if you're in a rush, you do not have to do this step, but I personally think this step is so fast and so easy. I do definitely incorporate it into my everyday routine. And then if you're feeling feisty, you can just go ahead and highlight down the center of your face with the powder as well, which is what I like doing, just so that your face looks a little bit more like 3-dimensional instead of just being flat. To set my face in last year's everyday makeup routine, I used the Milk powder, but today I'm actually going to go in with the Thrive Causemetics Translucent Matte Setting Powder. I actually really like this powder. I don't think I've used it in a video yet, but I've used it quite a few times now off camera, and I do really like it. It does really just smooth out your skin. I love the packaging. This is like my favorite color. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this powder. And it does have a mesh net, so you can just get a lot. But on a day-to-day basis, I'm just going to go in with a loose, fluffy brush and just dip it in here and just smooth out my face. And it's important to set your makeup down, even if you have dry skin, just so that it lasts throughout the day. There are different powders for every skin type, some more mattifying than others, but I think this is a powder that could work for a lot of people. I know some dry people that love this powder. I also like to bring my powder down to my neck, slightly above my neck, like on my jaw, I should say, because if you bring your foundation down here, you don't want it to transfer if you're moving around or touching people or hugging people. So it's a really easy, just fast, like little swoop, and you can do this in like a few seconds and be good to go. Okay, it's time for bronzer. I'm gonna go in with my Fenty Beauty Sun Stalk'r bronzer in the shade Island Ting. Looks like this. This is a nice bronzer for every day because it's not super pigmented right off the bat. It's definitely more customizable in terms of how much pigment you want on your face. So it's really conducive to like that nice, natural, effortless, easy look. I'm just gonna take my Ulta Beauty bronzer brush. This is like my favorite bronzer brush. Dip it in here and just go for a nice kind of wash. On a daily basis, I do not bake my face. I don't have the time for that, even with doing this whole thing, but if your bronzer does get a little bit out of control, obviously feel free to do that. And I do not contour on a daily basis either. Bronzer, blush, highlight, that's pretty much all I do. And then I'll just run a little bit of that down the sides of my nose. There are so many good blushes, but today I'm going to go with the Milani Baked Blush in the shade Sunset Passion. And this is really beautiful because if you're not someone who wants to put on highlight, this is like a beautiful glowy blush. So it's like a 2-in-1. And it just adds a nice kind of radiance to your cheeks. Very buildable as well. This is an it Causemetics contour brush. It came with their like gemstone collection. I got a cute little like amethyst bracelet, but I personally use this for blush. Okay, and then for highlight, I don't think I've ever used this on camera, but I'm going to go in with this guy right here. This is a Disney designer collection highlight in the shade Coronation. It's like a pinky peachy highlight, but I think you could definitely use it on an everyday basis. I am just going to take this janky Morphe brush that I need to throw away. And this is definitely buildable, so it's not going to give you that bam effect right away. And I'm just going to highlight the tops of my cheek. It does give it a little bit of a pinky glow, but I do not mind that. And it's really, really beautiful. It just kind of like looks like a nice sheen on your face. Okay, so we're done with the face pretty much. We're gonna go ahead and move on to brows. Now, I have a whole tutorial on how I do my brows, so I'm going to cut that part of the video and I will be right back in 3, 2, 1. And I'm back, and my brows literally took me 1 minute and 30 seconds, and I know that because I started to play a song, and that's how far I got into the song. But I basically just used my e.l.f. Instant Brow Lift, my favorite brow pencil ever, and my Milk Kush Fiber Brow Gel. It's like a tinted brow gel, and I lightly just fill in my brows. And if you don't want to fill in your brows with pencil, because I didn't use two either, you can just go in with a tinted brow gel and make that kind of like your one and done kind of approach. But because I have just gotten so fast at just like filling in my brows like super quickly, not really caring too much about being super precise, I just go ahead and use a crayon like this, and it's so easy to use. So it's time for eyes, and sometimes I will still go in with one of those Tarte shadows. Sometimes I go in with a ColourPop Super Shock shadow, just one and done on my lid. That is my favorite kind of way to just go in with some kind of shadow. Just tap it on with your finger, boom, you're good to go. But to show you something different, I like to take a small neutral palette and work from there. So you can go with any neutral palette. I just need a taupe shade, like a crease shade, and then a dark brown shade. So I'm gonna go in with the ColourPop Going Coconuts 9-pan palette. These shadows aren't super duper pigmented, so they're gonna be nice for like an everyday look. And I usually just go between Lovely Bunch, Culotta, and Nutty if I'm doing like a quick out the door look. So for my crease, I am going to take this shade right here called Lovely Bunch on my Morphe M504. This is so fast when I do it in the morning, honestly, you guys. I'm just going to pop that, no eyeshadow primer or anything because we have our base down, and just pop this on my lid really generously, sweeping it through the crease. And honestly, sometimes that's the only eyeshadow I'll do, and then I'll just curl my lashes, tightline my eyes, and put on mascara. But since I am filming this video, I might as well just go in and do a little bit something extra because I do this quite often for work. I'm going to go in with this dark brown shade called Nutty. You can use a black shadow, but I think a dark brown is more natural for an everyday basis. And I'm just going to take this Morphe M213, dip it in here, and just kind of smoke that on my lower lash line. And then without dipping back into the pan, taking what's on the brush still and just dragging that on my upper lash line so it doesn't look super harsh, but you have a little bit of definition up there too. See how it's like kind of like smoked out and very subtle, but it gives your eyes a little bit of pop. Like this one automatically looks bigger than this one. So I'm going to do the same for the other eye. And voila, super fast. It's all we're gonna do in terms of eyeshadow. Really easy, and just something that just makes your eyes look a little bit more awake. So now I'm just going to curl my lashes. Now, this may sound ridiculous, but I do go in with eyeshadow primer every day. I'm gonna take my Marc Jacobs Velvet Primer. I feel like eyelash primer too also just helps your lashes. It kind of serves as a barrier between your mascara and your lashes. I feel like it coats them and helps protect them. So that when you remove your mascara, they don't fall out, they don't become as brittle. And this is a nice lash primer, even though it is expensive. So while I wait for that to dry a little bit, I am going to tightline my eyes really quickly. I'm going to take my Essence Extreme Lasting Pencil in the shade Blacklove. Super easy, super fast, and I'm just going to run this on my upper lash line, just like this. not going all the way to the inner corner, but just enough to deposit color kind of underneath. So it makes your eyes look bigger from within, if that makes sense. And then I am going to go in with mascara, and the mascara that I'm going to use today is the Thrive Causemetics Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara. I want to use this because I don't think I've used this on camera yet, but I have really been liking it. It's a tubing mascara. The wand looks like this. It's like a synthetic kind of wand, so it's not natural bristles, but each thing just really grips onto your lashes. And a tubing mascara is great because when you wash off your lashes, it comes off in little tubes instead of smearing all over your eyes, so it's definitely cleaner. Just going to brush this all along my lashes. And you can see it does give a nice amount of kind of definition and volume. And I would say if you want to do anything to your eyes out of all these steps I've shown you so far, the thing that I will always do is put on mascara if I am going somewhere. Like, I don't need shadow, I don't need liner, just mascara, and I feel like that is enough to give me like the bare minimum of like a more kind of awake look. Okay, and that is it for the eyes. And the last step we have is lips. On a daily basis, I do not go in with lip liner. I just can't be bothered, honestly. But I do like a nice lip, and this can change between a bullet lipstick, a liquid lipstick, but it's always some kind of nude. So today I'm actually going to go with the Causemetics Rose Nude liquid lipstick. I think this is like the Lip Clouds, and it looks like this. It's a really nice formula, long wearing but very comfortable. Alright, and then last but not least, I'm going to set my face with the Morphe Continuous Setting Spray. This is pretty much what I reach for every single day, as much as I want to use one of my other setting sprays. This is just so fast and so easy. And it really just helps make your makeup just lock in and stay nice. Alright everybody, and that is it for today's makeup look. I hope you enjoyed this kind of get ready with me tutorial for my everyday kind of full face of makeup when I want to go out to work. Just put a full face on and not just kind of like a concealer look. If you want me to do just kind of like my updated quarantine makeup look with just some concealer and like my absolute essentials, I will film that. Just let me know. I do have a no foundation makeup tutorial that I did last summer. I will link that down below just for your reference in case you think foundation is a little bit too much for you. But I personally just feel like I do this routine in 10 to 15 minutes and automatically I feel like I'm more ready to take on the day. And even in quarantine, I wasn't really wearing makeup at all. I did find that just putting on a little bit of makeup and, you know, getting dressed and putting on a bra, even if it's for a short amount of time in your day, personally, it makes me feel a little bit more productive. It helps me kind of distinguish the home kind of life from my work life, even though I'm working at home. So just those things to help you set boundaries and just help overall with your mood and everything in this time. I hope you are staying safe. Hope you guys enjoyed this look. Let me know what's essential in your everyday face routine. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, please, if you enjoyed it. And hopefully I will see you in my next video. Mwah. Bye.